doctor. Look at his face.
Never thought they would throw you
Y'all,
off.
so today on Plant Trapping, I am going to show you how to soil propagate this pothos clipping as well as this spider plant clipping. So the fun part about these is it actually comes from the mama plant. So if you have spider plants and have a whole bunch of these little babies hanging off of it, or flowers, whatever you want to call them, you could actually easily propagate these because they're already starting to root. You just got to put it in soil. So we're going to get into that right now. I'm going to start by putting on my gloves. I have already videos of me recorded clipping these. I guess I'll explain real quick where you're gonna clip them. So there's little nubs on this plant, on the pothos, and you're gonna wanna clip it up. I like to go 4 to 5 down, sometimes 6. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I cut it under the 7th nub. It's quite large because I wanted it to hang down. So you're gonna cut it right here, and in the video, it'll be more in depth of an example of where to cut it. So there's that. And then with this baby spider plant, I clipped it from the stem right here. You'll see that in the video as well. This one's pretty simple. They both are, but as far as knowing where to clip it.
All right, so as you can see, I'm cutting it just below the node. I'm showing you the node right there. And here we are on the spider plant. I'm showing you the little roots getting ready. And I'm just gonna clip it on this stem right here. I do both kind of at like a little bit of an angle and then just pop.
So, you're gonna get something small to propagate it in, and especially for the pothos plant, with the spider plant, you might want something with some drainage. This doesn't have drainage in it, but with the pothos, you're not gonna want anything with drainage, and you're gonna wanna use a soil with perlite in it to help absorb that water, because you don't want it to get too wet. You wanna be able to keep the soil moist, but not drenched. So use something with perlite in it to help absorb the water. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of soil in here. And you can use any kind of small pot. You could even use a biodegradable pot and pot that in a bigger pot, and then put your pothos clippings around it to make it look larger. And then once it takes root, you'll have a big pothos. I'm going to do something small because it's hanging from my wall. So let me see how I want to get this in here. So you're gonna take, sorry, these gloves are a little like loose, so I'm fumbling my fingers. You're gonna take the nub, right under the nub where I clipped it. You're gonna stick it in the soil. You probably can't see very well, but you see how I have it just right down in the soil? You're gonna put a little bit of water in there, which I should have done before, but I tend to move backwards because I am awkward. So I've got water in there to add some moisture. Sorry if you hate the word moist, I use it a lot. And I'm gonna put more soil in here to make sure it's deep in the soil. You don't want it to really move around because you want it to root. You want to grow roots, so you will have another plant. Yay. All right, so I added more soil. I filled it up fairly well. I'm gonna add a little bit more water to it. And I'm just letting it sink in. And like I said, you want to make sure you have something, a soil with perlite in it, so it'll help absorb that water so you don't get root rot. That's the last thing you want. All right, So here is our pothos. Isn't she beautiful? Right there. A better view, how I have it pretty deep down in the soil. All right, so I'm gonna lay her down, and then we're gonna move on to our spider plant that I always call a snake plant because they both start with an S. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put some soil in here. Shake it around a little bit more. So it's about a quarter of a space left, like of a gap, to put the spider plant in and then fill it with more soil. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to get it moist or damp so it has something to stick to. I'm gonna use my little stick. All right, so we're gonna use the ponytail method. Right, Coach?
Right.
And then I don't know if you can see here, but there's like little nubs that are going to turn into roots. All right, so we're gonna take those and we wanna stick them down into the soil, like so. And then we're still gonna hold this up like a ponytail. And we're just gonna fill the rest of it with soil. Just kind of shake it, and I'm gonna add a little bit more water. Hopefully some gets in here. I feel like more is getting on my floor. All right, and then with this little baby, I'm gonna clip off. There's some of it started, you see, drying up. So I'm just gonna clip off the dead ends. Here's one. Here's another one. So like I said, with both of these, let me hold them up so you can see how pretty they look. You're not going to want to fully water them. You just want to keep the soil damp. You don't want it to be wet. You don't want root rot. So make sure your soil is damp. Check it daily. Keep it damp. That's how it's going to root, but not wet, like drenched, soaking wet, soggy, just damp. All right, so this is how you propagate a spider plant and a pothos.
All in all, it's all in all, you did me frozen cold.